Today, I want to talk to you guys about something that happens very frequently and that can be a big headache from you. What I'm going to talk about today is double paying on your debt collection account, why it happens, and what you can do to avoid it. So stay tuned. My name is Jay, and welcome to Ask a Debt Collector. Now, I've been in the debt collection industry for over 15 years. I've done it all, from skip tracing to collecting to management, and I've owned 2 debt collection agencies. For the past 8 years, I've been the go-to guy for friends and family for questions regarding debt and credit, and now I want to be that person for you. If you have any questions, put them down in the comment section. I promise I'll answer those questions. Let's go. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel as I'm trying to grow it and get this message out to as many people to educate them about credit and debt. I have a few other things that I have going on. I have a credit repair business. So if you're looking at getting your credit repaired, I can do that for you. If you're looking at a DIY, you understand credit repair, you just, need a little nudge or need a little help with regards to the letters and how to send those. I have a DIY packet available for those of you who want to do that. I'm every day, at least 2 or 3 people I'm getting every single day the pay to delete letter for absolutely for free. If you want any of those 3 things, email me at askadebtcollector@barrettrecovery.com. Just specify exactly what it is that you want, and we'll get that taken care of. Lastly, me and my wife have a podcast called Books, Dreams, and Financial Things. We have about 38 episodes that are already done. We took 6 months off so that I could focus on the credit repair and Ask a Debt Collector. And my wife, she has a business in the health and wellness sector, Frugally Keto. If you want to check that out, you want to lose weight and you don't have time to go to the gym, you can check that out as well. But Books, Dreams, and Financial Things, we're going to start recording. I know that it's been down there. We're going to start recording come next month in August. Tune into that. But there are 38 episodes there. We're totally revamping and changing the way in which we do it, but we are a blended family, and we have, we talk about books that we're reading, we talk about our dreams, we talk about our entrepreneur stuff and what's going on in daily life, the realities of a blended family and so forth. Check that out now wherever you get your podcast from. It's on all networks. Check that out now. If you want to, you can get caught up, and then obviously come in August, we'll be recording more. Let's talk about actually double paying on an account, right? Double paying on an account, believe it or not, happens a lot. Me as a debt collector, I would see it all the time. Consumers calling and saying, hey, I think I paid that, or I'm pretty sure I paid that. And I always tell them, no problem, just send proof of actual payment. And not just like a transaction out of your bank account, but an actual paid in full letter from the company showing that you either settled the account or you paid the account out. And a lot of times consumers don't have that, so they end up having to double pay. But let's figure out why that happens. You as a consumer, a lot of times you're blinded on the opposite end. You don't know why in heck would one company call me and demand payment, I pay them, and then another company calls me about the same exact account and they end up paying. So let's get into some of the reasons why, but I'm going to talk on the business standpoint right now. Some of the reasons why. What happens sometimes is the account is sold twice. Delinquent accounts and portfolios are sold in bulk, right? And when they're sold in bulk, it's not like they sell one account at a time. They'll sell anywhere from, it could be anywhere from 150 accounts all the way up to 10,000 accounts, depending on the amount of accounts that a seller has to actually sell. And what happens is the broker or the seller can sell the account accidentally to 2 different collection agencies or on purpose. Obviously, if it's accidental, one of those things sort of kind of happen a lot of times. Typically, it's something that could happen. They could try and fix it, and go from there. But sometimes it's done on purpose, which means that the seller who has the accounts, they know, in fact, that they're selling it to other accounts, and they're just being fraudulent with regards to the accounts. But that is one of the reasons why that can happen. The account is sold twice, whether it's on purpose or on accident. Number two, you as a consumer, let's switch it over, paid the account, but you didn't get a paid in full / settled in full letter. I can't express to you how much that happened. When I was in the beginning of collections, when I first started collecting and actually collecting a lot of money, I remember I would get consumers on the phone all the time. I would get them to pay, whether it was a settlement. Typically, I gave settlements or some type of payment arrangement. Once they paid, they never asked for a settled in full or a paid in full letter, and I never gave it to them. And then maybe 6 months to a year down the road, sometimes they'll call us back and they'll want that information. But a lot of times you as a consumer, you feel like once you pay, it's over with. That's not the case. Make sure you get a paid in full letter or a settled in full letter showing what it is that you agreed upon and that you actually followed it to keep for your records. Another reason why is you as a consumer, you got to settle. You paid your settlement, but not on the due date time. I can't tell you how many times that has happened. And the company's not going to not accept the payment. Let me explain to you. You make the transaction. You say, okay, I'm going to pay $500 on the 20th of the month to close the account out. 20th comes along, you don't send your payment or pay the payment on that time span. The 21st happens, and then all of a sudden your payment is paid. Per our contract, you're supposed to pay it on the 20th. It states that, in the writing, if it's not paid on this day, before the date or on that specific date by the close of business day, then it's considered a payment. So if you got a settlement for $500, you paid it a day after, what happens is that payment comes a day after, it's just applied to the balance. You still owe the remaining balance. So it's very important that you do that. Now, let's go into some of the ways how you can avoid paying 2 times. Number 1, properly vet the company. I have a video where I talk about how to verify a debt collection agency and going through the actual chain. When I talk about the chain, that's what happens to the account in general. So typically you start off with the original creditor if it was Capital One. Now let's say Capital One said that you defaulted, it was charged off, profit and loss, sent to collections to this debt collection agency. Now that debt collection agency may own the account. You contact them, you contact Capital One, they're going to give you the number to the company that they actually sold the account to. You may contact that debt collection agency, and depending on the age of your account, how old or new the account is, that debt collection agency may not have it anymore, and they may have sold it to another company. And that is considered the chain. This way, eventually you'll stop and you'll find out who actually has the account, and you'll know who actually has the account. But that's going to take you as a consumer, it's your job to properly vet and figure out who actually truly owns the account or has the account. Number 2, follow your arrangement with the debt collection company. If, like I was stating before, if they say you have to pay $500 on the 20th, do not pay it on the 22nd and think, oh, it's all over and it's done with. It's very important that you do that. Now, if something happens and you're not able to pay it on the 20th, what I tell consumers is give us a call at least 3 business days before that transaction is supposed to process, so that way, if something else changes, we can change up the arrangement and still honor your settlement. But you as a consumer, make sure you get another settlement letter and you keep that for your records. And lastly, when you do pay off an account and you follow the arrangements, you vetted the company, you know all the information that has happened, make sure you keep that paid in full letter, that settlement letter. So typically 30 days after your transaction, your last transaction is paid, whether it's a settlement or you're making monthly payments is paid, typically 30 to 45 days, you'll get a paid in full letter. It should come in the mail. You can request to have it emailed. Make sure you contact that company, you get that documentation. And with that documentation, you want to hold on to it. I say 5 to 7 years until it obviously falls off of your credit report. But hold on to that information. I can't tell you how many times people have said they paid, and because they didn't get the paid in full letter from the other company, all of a sudden, maybe a year or 2 years past, they contact that debt collection company, and that company's no longer in existence. So then what ends up happening, without the actual showing proof that you actually paid it and it was a settlement, on that specific date, that's what happens. There are two things that typically debt collection companies will give you. They'll give you an arrangement letter which states what it is that you planned on doing. So let's say if you're going to you had $1,000 account, you said they agreed to settle the account for $500 on the 20th of the month. You get that. You keep that for your record. So that's not saying that you actually paid it or you didn't, but that's at least showing that this company agreed upon this date to pay it. Then after you make that transaction, typically 30 to 45 days after that, they should send you a paid in full letter or settled in full letter. Make sure you keep a copy of that in your records so that way nothing happens. Now, let's say suppose you get that settlement arrangement, you pay it on that specific date from that company, right? But then all of a sudden you go and try and get a paid in full letter, you're not able to get it, the company falls out of business. At least you have that arrangement letter, and then you have obviously the transaction that was processed through your checking account or through your credit card or whatever the circumstance is. Those line up, and typically that'll be a good enough information with regards to so that you don't end up having to pay the account twice. Paying on an account 2 times, sometimes even 3 times, can be a very big hassle. But understand, if you do the things that you're supposed to do in the beginning prior to actually making any transaction or making any payments, getting a settlement letter sent to you, emailed to you, keeping it for your records, all of those types of things, vetting the company and so forth, that'll avoid your chances of actually having to double pay on an account, right? Keep that information stowed away and keep it until obviously the account falls off your credit report after the 7 years, because after that time span, it's not really much that companies can do. Now, there are some states out there that do go further, so make sure you check in your state for the specific laws through the FDCPA in your area. Now, if you have any questions about debt or credit, or with regards to double paying or what to do concerning that, put them down in the comment section. I promise I'll answer those questions. And as I always state, you be great.